Hey there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies here today, and I want to talk about the fast path and the slow path in marketing because this is important. There are two different approaches you can take to marketing. One is fast, one is slow. And for years I've had this very slow, organic approach to marketing, relationship-based kind of hub marketing and all this. And I see it sometimes people bashing this fast approach. And I don't think that's healthy either, because sometimes you do need to hustle. Sometimes you need an approach to marketing that's going to bring in a lot of money very quickly. And yet, if that's all you rely on, it's often not a sustainable approach. So, what are these two paths? How are they different? Well, the slow path is really based on developing a high quality product or service, making sure it works, making sure it's really helpful for people. Number two, that it's a really clear target market or niche, that you're very clear about what you're doing. There's customer service in there, there's building relationships with people, developing a reputation in the community for good work, building relationships with key partners, hubs, people who are well connected to the people you want to reach, well respected by them, mapping out who the hubs are. And there's just a slow, the truth is, if you just do a really, really good job and you really help people get better, you really help people get the results you want, you do high quality work, over the long term, word does spread and you passively start to get this word of mouth. So that's the thing. That's the slow approach, is you just do good work long term. The fast approach is where you really hone in on a particular group of people that has a particular problem, and you offer a result to it. You offer, potentially bargains, really good deals, very strong guarantees. And there's more hustle here. So another way to say it, and I've talked about this in my work in the nichingspiral.com on the niching work, is the artist versus the entrepreneur. So the artist just creates really good art and kind of hopes that people find it and like it. The entrepreneur picks a target market, notices there's some problem, and they go about solving it. That entrepreneurial approach is going to make you money faster, is the truth. Because if you're actually solving a problem that is urgent for people to solve, people are going to be more likely to spend money. If you could have one competitive advantage as a hamburger stand, for example, there's a lot of things you might think you want, but the actual competitive advantage that make the biggest difference is you are right next to a hungry crowd. People, you're right next to a stadium, people are coming out and they're hungry, or you have a hot dog stand that's right outside of a bar, or I remember I saw a photo of a Girl Guide who'd set up her Girl Guide cookies stand right outside of a shop that sold weed, marijuana products. It's too genius. So you want to be right next to a hungry crowd. So that's the entrepreneurial approach, is to first think, who's the hungry crowd? And then what could we offer to them? That approach, because people are hungry, they're just more likely to actually spend their money on something versus something they're not sure they need or they need to think about. It's, not an immediate solution, even though it might be something they'd really like in the long term. So the artistic approach is this approach of, well, I'm just going to create something, and I'll do my best to find people who it might be a fit for. But even if I don't find the people, I'm probably going to still make that. Long term, that could work. It worked for Van Gogh. He was just dead by the time it happened. He's one of the most famous artists in the world now, and yet none of that hit while he was alive. So it's not that approach doesn't work. Can't get you a great reputation and have a lot of money surrounding your work. I mean, God, there's a whole Van Gogh museum. I mean, you've made it when you get a museum that's dedicated to you and your art. So there's this whole museum of his art. He never lived to see it. So it's a very long game. You may just not live to see it. And so it's going to be this constant dance in business. It's a tension between the artist and the entrepreneur, between the fast and the slow. And there's no fix for it. There's no solution to it. There's no advice I'm going to give on which road to take. And there's no right or wrong in this. That's not how it divides up. It's just that if all you do is this entrepreneurial approach, the downside of that can be you're just jumping on every single trend. Your products are cheap knockoffs of other things because you don't have time to really create something original, and it's soulless. The downside of the artist one is the money isn't that good sometimes. So most of us have to do this tension of there's the work that we really want to do that's pouring through us, and it just may take a while for that to be discovered and for it to catch on, for people to love it just for the art that it is and want to support it just for the art that it is. And then there's the helping people with a particular problem. So again, there's no advice. But if you are looking for support in the fast marketing, I do have a program coming up. I do it pretty much every January, and it's coming up again this January 2018. It's called The Meantime, and I'll put the link below or above or somewhere around this video. If you're interested, if you're in a place where you really would like to get some cash flow quickly because you need it or because you just want it, that's the program where I cover all my stuff on that fast approach to marketing. And pretty much all of the rest of my stuff is around the slower approach. So I hope this was useful. If you have any questions about that fast and slow dynamic, the artist and the entrepreneur dynamic, let me know. I gotta go.